Good afternoon, Paul. It
Good afternoon.
is such a privilege to interview you on a topic that people don't even think is so critical to the element of entrepreneurship. You are an entrepreneur, and I want the readers and the viewers to know what is the entrepreneurship that you have created. Give us a little quick background about yourself, but so very interested in learning about the business of reps and distribution in today. You are doing it in the film and the digital processing area. Love to hear it.
Sure. Like I said, I opened up Tri-State Medical in 1993. I was working with somebody and I realized, hey, my wife was 7 months pregnant and I had an opportunity to go in business with a partner of mine and we took it. My wife thought I was crazy. She's about to have a baby in 2 months and there's going to be no check coming in. We worked hard, and one thing about whenever you have your own business, it's like your kid. You do whatever you can to keep it and watch it grow, and you devote your time. And everything changes. There was a book out there called "Who Took My Cheese" or whatever. It's always moving.
Where's my cheese?
Where's my cheese? Yeah, that's just like the medical field. Everything changes every couple of years. And when I first got in it back in the 80s, everything was film, chemical. Nobody ever heard of digital. It wasn't out there yet. And so you had your film, chemicals, you did your service. One thing I did with my company is my competitors were going out there and they would spend a week to deliver film or chemical. I told my guys, and it was just a handful of us, I said, listen, let's do it the same day. If we get an order by an orthopedic group, let's bring that film, chemical. If an x-ray machine goes down, get it done the same day. And we started picking up customers after customers. One of my biggest competitors.
So you were thinking Amazon at that time itself. The next day delivery service, you did it the same day.
We tried the same day. Two reasons why. One is you're bringing a product that probably between $500 and $1,000 you're bringing to supplies. I needed that cash flow to pay bills. So if I brought it today, I get to bill it tomorrow or that night.
So necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And then also what we do, we put stickers on about our company on all the X-ray equipment or processing equipment or digital equipment. And some of my people are like, why do we got to do this? And I'm like, it's called nourishment. I said, because you put that sticker on, they know where to call you. It's because you get to eat again because you're going to be able to bill them something or sell them something.
Yes, yes.
And you always want your company to be known. You might do a sale and you might not hear from that customer in 5 years, but if you had a good rapport from him and no problems and everything went great, he's going to call that number.
Yeah. But the whole concept, Paul, that brings up to this is people probably don't call you to tell you they're happy.
Most of the time they don't.
Right. But they would look at the label and say, let me call you because something is wrong. And you rather know what is wrong so that you can go fix it rather than trying, obviously it's nice to hear nice words about the customer.
On my way over here, I had a doctor that wasn't happy about one of my service guys. The equipment wasn't the way he wanted it. I said, not a problem. I'll have him come out, no charge, we'll fix it. You're only as good as your last job. And I tell my doctors and my employees this, that if you do not, I can't fix what I don't know is broken. But once I find out, I will take care of it. Right. And years ago, they used to say, before social media, back in the 80s, they used to say, if you have one customer that disagrees with you or has a bad opinion about your company, 200 people know in a year.
Yes.
On social media, 20,000 people might know about it. Okay, so you better make sure you fix that problem.
Correct.
And that's what it is. If you take care of the customer and realize that customer is going to be with you for life if you take care of them. Right. You're doing your job.
So, Paul, during our earlier conversation, I was asking you that a lot of these, what they call as disruptive implementations of marketing or sales channels have been really cutting the service business for maybe price or delivery or whatever it is. As an entrepreneur, I would like to know how you pre-thought that change coming, how you manage that change, and most importantly enough, what was the value proposition that the customers felt that you offered that they didn't really care about saving the 10-15% if they may have
Right.
through those disruptive channels of marketing, sales, at least. What was that?
One thing is personal service. One thing I've always done is you can call my office after hours. That phone rose to me. We did have a time where we had an answering service. I didn't particularly like it. And some people say, well, why are you being bothered on the weekends or whatever else? If they know they can get me and I can answer a question and fix their problem, and a lot of times now with the digital equipment, you know what it is, you can tell them what to do to fix it, they're not going to go anywhere else. You can buy stuff on the internet. You can buy places. You can buy stuff from one-man bands. These people that have no warehouse, no nothing, no overhead, and they go in and they sell and they go lower price. You can't always compete with lower prices. But what you can do is let them know your years in service, your dedication, and taking care of their business. And if you can give them the assurance that when they go down, that you're going to be there and be there for them when they do go down, you'll keep that business.
Now, isn't it true, Paul, the part that you supply or the service that you provide is an element of a very expensive equipment process that the doctors are delivering? So essentially, if I even save 20% on a part, but I can get that equipment going or being maintained for half a day, I lose more on the equipment not running than on what I save on the
You're
part.
exactly right. If they can't take x-rays, they can't see the patients. The orthopedist or the imaging center or the doc in the box can't do his job, So what happens is sometimes those parts might be $200, $100, could be $1,500 to $2,000. And I deal with veterinarians too, and they need their equipment up to make a diagnosis. So we try to stock as much as we can. But, it's not cost effective always to stock. You just can't stock every part. So you have to have good relationship with your factories and representatives, knowing that when you have a problem, you can pick up the phone, you call that representative, that factory support, and they tell you, hey, go do this, we got that part, ship it overnight, and the next day you get them up and going.
Sure. So could we say to the entrepreneurs that the value proposition of businesses like yours are not necessarily always in the efficiency of the cost, but it is on the package of services that you deliver to your customers, where they understand from you the real impact of wanting to save a few pennies? So it's like, for the want of a nail, the war was lost, but the nail was the entire service, not the part that they got in that space.
Yeah.
So what would you say to, in your experiences, give me an example that the doctor who you had, I'm sure you had that on such a conversation with your doctors before. So would you give them an example of what I just said that actually happened in real life?
Well, there's several things that happen. Sometimes I've lost due to price and sale, and they save money right now, but in the long run they lost, where they went down or they couldn't get that company to come back out and take care of it. And that's one thing I always do. I always give extra warranty too. So if we have a 5-year warranty on parts, I realize this thing is not much going to cost me in labor, so I give 5 years. So I kind of use that, so I keep my price at a certain price to make a good profit, but I give them a little better warranty. Does that come back to bite me sometimes?
Of course it does.
Yes, it does. But on the other hand, it gives the doctor, he's comfortable, he's relaxed. He says, you know what, I got 5 years on all of this, parts and labor. And it's been a good thing for me to do it that way. Some of my competition thinks that I'm crazy, but my competition's been following me and giving more of a warranty. because I've been getting more sales out of it. So you have to look at whatever you can in your market that makes you a little bit stronger. And sometimes you might not have to give the dollar away, but maybe give 5 cents or 4 cents away, okay, in a warranty that might or might not happen.
Yes, yes,
You
yes,
know?
yes, yes.
And it gets you the sale.
Well, and get you repeated sales, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So, Paul, from the time your wife thought you were crazy when you went into the business to today, what are some of the things that had you to do it all over again that you would do differently?
Do differently. I will tell you a story. This is a personal one. And I think every entrepreneur or anything, you get so wrapped up in your day-to-day operation of trying to make a profit, trying to make a sale, make sure the service guys are doing their job correctly, people happy. You forget to look at your books, okay? And when I'm talking about books, I'm talking about like the program like QuickBooks or whatever else. You might look at that and say, hey, give me, and your office manager tells you a balance and that, and you're like, well, that's funny. I don't know why we're not getting paid, whatever. I had a personal experience where I had an office manager who, in 3.5 years, about $450,000 she stole from me, okay? And I'm working my butt off. And I even told my dad one time, he said, what's wrong? You know, why is it going hard for you? I said, I don't know. Maybe I'm not that good. I thought I was failing. I even stopped getting a paycheck for 9 months. I lived off my savings, okay? And I was already in business for, it was 17 years.
Wow.
Okay, I'm coming up on my 27th year in business, but I was in business for 17 years. We were doing great. And then it just started slacking off. And I was like, what am I thought it was me. I never did check the bank statement because I had trust in this employee that was with me for 10 years. I watched the kids grow up. I consider her like a sister. And that's one thing I check every day. I go online and I check my bank balance, not because I want to see it or whatever else. I just check the checks that go through. And I suggest everybody do that because of the experience I had. I don't want anybody else to go through. And it would keep me up at night thinking, what am I doing wrong? And then finally, once that happened, it was a life-altering effect. Everything went back to normal, and you have your normal. Because bad enough it is now, you know, sometimes you're robbing Peter to pay Paul this bill because this guy never paid yet. A lot of that stuff went away in my life. But I always say that is the biggest mistake I ever made, and that is something that I would change 100%, and I'd let everybody know.
So watching not just the sale process, but the financial system of it is important. Now, Paul, in general, entrepreneurs like to create wealth. So do you as an entrepreneur. Some create wealth through cash flow. Some create wealth through the enterprise value. The enterprise value is a reflection of the cash generated. So essentially, there are two types of products an enterprise has. One is the product or the service they have, and the other is the stock or the value that they create. Now, as you just said, so on one side you are creating the product and services, but you are forgetting or not forgetting, aware of the enterprise value. In your business, how do you build the enterprise value in the perception of others who, when you are ready to retire or create liquidity, what would that mechanism be?
Well, I think whenever you start in business, you know, there's so much going on. You're trying to make a profit. You're trying to pay employees. And I've always looked at it when I started, I pay my employees first, I pay my bills second, and I pay myself last. If there's not enough to pay me, I don't care. I know down the road, as long as you keep working at it, you'll pay yourself and you'll do fine. You want to, you know, after 3 years in business, we bought a building. I had a partner back then who's been gone for years, but we decided to buy a building. It was the best thing I ever did. It gave me assets. It gave me where you can do lines of credit. And I say the biggest thing on business is get your lines of credit set up and use those lines of credit. But don't use them when you don't need to, and whenever you do use it, pay it back when you get that check, that big check in that you needed to borrow it for.
Right.
And if you do that, it'll help you with your cash flow. It'll help you everything with your business. It'll help you with your credit, and then build slowly with you're going to need pickup. In my case, I needed pickup trucks for deliveries. I needed forklifts for heavy equipment. All that's are assets that you build up over time. And then always, try not to bite off more than you can chew, because you can spend more than you're taking in sometimes if you had to buy equipment,
So building your assets during the process is a critical element of the type of business that you are engaged in.
Yes.
Assets are actually assets like plant, property, equipment, stuff like that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Every journey, there is always a person or two who inspire you. In ours, we call it the GPS, but the G stands for the guru, the guru positioning system. Share with me with a couple of those sort of people that you were inspired by or guided you, and it could be a wife, but whatever that is, of course, nothing.
It's my father. It's my father, my grandfather, but mainly my father. When we were growing up, we had a house. My mom was always sick with seizures. They had no medical coverage back then. It was pre-existing. He owned his own business. He was an auto mechanic. I thought I was going to be an auto mechanic. Him and my grandfather had a repair shop uptown in New Orleans. And I used to love going in the summers over there and work. I got paid $50 a week to pump gas, check oil when they used to check the oil and everything.
Yeah.
I was
With
rich.
The sticker, right?
I was rich. Me and my brother used to fight to go pump gas because we knew certain people tip a quarter or a nickel back in the late 70s.
Yes.
And we would go work there. But my dad would always come home from work in 40, 50 hours or more, and he'd eat dinner, and then he'd go in the backyard. He set up a little mechanic shop in the back, 3-car garage, and he would make extra money to pay the medical bills. And, it was always, to me, that he'd come home from a hard day. When I come home now, I eat, and I sit down and watch the news. He actually would get up and go work to make the extra money. One thing he taught me was, and then when I got out of high school, I went and worked at a different place, and I got a second job just because to make extra money. I was living at home, and I was saving. And that's one thing I always do tell people. Even though things are looking good for you in business, put your money to the side. There's always going to be a rainy day, and you got to be prepared for that rainy day.
Sure.
And you might not think it's going to happen to you,
Okay.
but it will happen. One day,
Right.
you will have a cash crunch, that you need that cash.
Yeah.
But don't always blow it all. Because I know different business people that they always, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy that, I'm going to buy that. You know what? If you need it, buy it. But if you don't need it, put some money, save it away.
Yeah.
But my dad and my grandfather are the two people that I look up to. And hopefully they're both looking down on me and saying I'm doing a good job.
Good job. I asked you a lot of questions. What were some of the questions that I didn't ask you that you wish I would have asked you?
You asked a lot of questions. I don't know. I guess, what the other thing is? Everybody talks about entrepreneurship and all, but if it wouldn't be for the employees, the dedicated employees, I have some that have been with me 16, 17 years now, out of the 27 years. And it's hard to get good employees. And when you get good employees, you got to realize your company everybody might love your company because you do good work and you're there all the time. But it's your employees that are the ones, because you cannot be everywhere. It represents your company. And if you have good employees and they care about the customer just like you do, that's the best gift in the world. So always treat your employees the best you possibly can,
So as a part of that continuation of your commitment to your employees, how would you inspire other entrepreneurs to create wealth for your employees, like their employees, in addition to what you are doing to keep them healthy and happy?
Right. I tell you, sometimes it's hard to keep employees happy. But you have your employees that show up every day. So you try, and you can't give them everything. Okay. But what you try to do is be fair. And then I did a 401k, and we, we do health insurance, and we do different things to help them. We're not a giant company like my wife's a school teacher, and then they get great insurance. Actually, it's better for me to be on her insurance than my own because it costs so much.
Yeah.
But we try to offer the employees that. And you're flexible. One thing about being your own business owner, treat people the way you wanted to be treated when you were an employee. Think about that when your kid was sick and I need you in here no matter what. Well, you got to think about it. You know what? Let them stay home with their kid. Let them take the kid to doctor. I need off a little bit. I got a personal thing. Take it. As long as the work's being done, give in to that little extra stuff, and you'll have employees that realize how good they have it at work. I have one that had a baby, and she wanted to come back to work 3 weeks after, but she had to bring the baby. So we set up a room in the side, and then she kept the baby there. Now that kid screamed a lot. Okay. Oh yeah. I actually left the office a couple of times going, "This is too much." But the thing was, she had nobody to watch.
Of course.
And then, one thing she said, she really appreciated that because she was at a time where she had nobody to take care of the baby. Her husband was working, she's working, and then she was able to come back to work.
So creating wealth value, not only through the passion and the inspiration that is you and your father, disciplines, and your grandfather, but enabling employees to have good disciplines, but more importantly, enough caring, is a part of your success. Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed talking to you today.
Appreciate it today. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
All right.